17 minutes of right now. Back in November 1975, 6 people were killed in an awful mass murder. I've noticed. It's got to be awful in a small town on Long Island. The town is called Amityville. The murders took place in this house. 1 year later, George and Kathleen Lutz bought the house and they moved into it with their 3 children. After living there for 28 days, they were convinced the house was possessed by some kind of evil force, and they left their belongings and they fled. And they were really terrified. The events that supposedly took place there during those 28 days have been put down in a best-selling book. It's called The Amityville Horror, and there is now a movie out, or about to come out, of the book. George and Kathleen Lutz are with us this morning to talk about what happened during those 28 days in Amityville. And
What's up, Mob Crew? I'm Chris, and today is Paranormal Tuesday. I go over a case that inspired many books and videos throughout the decades, and that's the case of Amityville Horror. I go over that case and more in today's video. Also, today's missing person case is Destiny Puglisi from Klamath Falls, Oregon. She will be featured at the end of my video, so please stay until the end for that. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we cover murder, mystery, to the paranormal. Over the years, we have been hearing more about family annihilators, like Chris Watts and Josh Powell. But before them, there was another. On November 13th, 1974, Ronald Defeo Jr., at around 3 o'clock in the morning, went throughout his home and shot and killed 6 members of his family, who most of them were asleep in their colonial house in suburban neighborhood in Amityville. The victims were Ronald Jr.'s parents, Ronald Sr., who was 43, Louise, who was 43, and his 4 siblings, Dawn, who was 18, Allison, who was 13, Mark, who was 12, and John, who was 9. All the victims had been shot with the .35 caliber lever action rifle. In his defense in court, Defeo Jr. would claim that he heard voices telling him that he needed to kill his family because they were plotting against him. He was convicted of second-degree murder in November 1975 and sentenced to 6 sentences of 25 years to life in prison. A year later, in December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz bought the house for what was considered to be a bargain price of $80,000. George and Kathy and their 3 children moved into the house. Much of the house was still furnished with Defeo's family's furniture. Only after 28 days, the Lutz family fled the house, claiming to have been terrorized by paranormal phenomena while living there. Here is a small clip from the interview with them on Good Morning America.
Yes. And you're talking about how many?
Over 100 flies.
Over 100
at
flies.
one time. And then you'd go around and kill them. They'd be lying on the floor. You'd come back an hour later and they would be there, more of them.
Okay.
More of a gelatin kind of substance that we thought the children had somehow mixed something up and spilled it around the house. The next time it happened, the kids were at school.
A telephone repairman came 3 times because each time we would try and communicate with the priests, we would run into faulty connections. We had extreme fluctuations in the heat, between 40 and 50 degree fluctuations. 3 times the serviceman came in. One time he was there, he heard the furnace functioning, and yet there was no heat within the house.
The water black and making the ceramic, the bowls or whatever
The
black.
china itself, it wasn't in the water. The china itself turned black, and at first it was one bathroom and then another and then another, so that by the time the investigators got there, a number of them was still black. You know, it was still that way. There was never any reasonable explanation.
Did you have a plumber come in? I mean, when you first spotted
No,
it,
it wasn't a problem with the water. The water was clean. It was normal.
You didn't, yeah.
One of the things we found was the keyholes would ooze a black substance, which was of the same nature and appearance as that which was on the porcelain in the toilets. And when the investigative team came on March 6, 1976, the substance was still on the keyholes, and they were able to obtain samples of it because it was never in a moist condition. And
we've been asked many times why we stayed so long. It's very hard to remember the exact emotions or the moment why you would make a decision or why not.
But you finally did make it.
Well, by the time we left, we had lost a considerable amount of weight. Kathy was passing out quite regularly. I had lost over 26 pounds. And we were just reacting from one happening to another. We weren't really...
So you were generally shook up.
We weren't thinking, yes.
Yeah.
In 1979, George and Kathy Lutz took a polygraph test relating to their experiences at the house, and the examiner giving the test claims they were telling the truth. The priest who had been brought in early on to bless the house also experienced paranormal activity and would eventually go on TV in a very short interview. Here's what he had to say.
Anonymous.
I was blessing the sewing room. It was cold. It was really cold in there. And I thought, gee, this is peculiar. You know, because it was a lovely day out. And it was winter, yes, but it didn't account for that kind of coldness. I also sprinkling holy water. And I heard a rather deep voice behind me say, "Get out." It seemed so directed toward me that I was really quite startled. I felt a slap at one point on the face. I felt somebody slap me, and there was nobody there.
Discovered blisters were festering on his hands.
I went to the doctor for it, yes, and he couldn't explain it. He thought it might be caused by anxiety, and of course that's feasible. But I don't think I'm given over to psychosomatic responses.
He called the Lutzes to warn George and Kathy. Noise interference prevented any communication.
Kathy?
He could never get through.
Hello.
Hello, what's up with
Hello.
On the night of March 6, 1976, the house was investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren, a husband and wife team self-described as demonologists, together with a crew from television station Channel 5, New York, and reporter Michael Linder. During the course of the investigation, Gene Campbell took a series of infrared time-lapse photographs. This is one of the images they took. It shows a demonic boy with glowing eyes who is standing at the foot of the staircase, who coincidentally looks like one of the boys who was murdered by Defeo. After this, all other families that have lived on the property claim they have not experienced any paranormal activity. So what do you guys think? Do you think that Defeo was possessed? Did his actions invite the demonic entities to haunt the Lutz family? Please share your thoughts about this incident in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's video, please smash that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Tap that bell and turn on all notifications so you don't miss an upload as I upload daily. Please consider supporting my channel by becoming a member. Shout out to Aunt Denny for posting the missing in the comments section. Today's missing person case is Destiny Puglisi. Last seen at a Pilot gas station in Klamath Falls, Oregon, with the trucker on December 3rd. She could be heading to Red Bluff, California, or Spokane, Washington, or anywhere in Oregon. She is 27, blonde hair, blue eyes. Please take a close look. Please take care of yourself and be sure to tell someone you love them, and I love you all. Thank you.